going
Hey,
on?
who's this little one?
This is Asher.
Asher.
So hanging out doing daddy time, like before get into all the crazy stuff. So
Yes. How many kids you guys have?
this is my second one. I only have two.
Okay. Yeah, two. It's not only two.
There's only two.
Yeah, yeah, it is two.
But look,
And
oh man, I saw your little guy the other day, man. He's a beast, man.
telling you, man,
I was like,
he's,
whew.
it's funny, man. You'll see it with your kids too. Like, he's a kid that, like back in the day at my old house, my house had this
Mhm.
backyard and it backed onto a field, right? So there's like a soccer
Yeah,
field behind it. And when he was finally old enough, I'd be barbecuing and stuff. He's like, "Dad, can I go out in the field? Like, I'll be on the fence in the field by myself, and I can
yeah.
still see him." So I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So I'm just barbecuing. I look out in the field. My man is doing like push-ups and lunges and working on his backflips. You think he may like making a beeline for the swings? Dude, he's working out, man. He'd be like 6, 7,
Yes.
8 years old. Like, there's this like, I'm like, okay, okay. So whatever he wants to do, man, like just put him right in it.
Man, listen, what's crazy about that is like I always talk about like the kids who are just naturally like super athletic, and it's like some of it is going to be learned, some of it's going to be genetic, and
Yes.
some of it is just them, having fun. What does it say? Einstein says, play is the highest form of learning, and so he's
Yes.
just playing in his craft, and like it's
Yes.
of like kids who can flip their awareness,
Mhm.
their control. I said they're always super ridiculous athletes.
Yes. But a part of that too is the parents, right? Like I always joke with my wife because she's like the type of person like, don't do this, you'll crack your neck. Don't do this, you'll fall. Don't do this, you know what I'm saying? And when you
Yeah.
understand that boys are wired for adventure,
Yes.
sometimes you have to just kind of turn a blind eye to those things. And like one of the things I learned with my boys too is that teaching them how to fall safely, teach them how to
Yes.
bail out on something is key, right? So I remember my older son too, when he was 4 or 5, I had the equalizers in the basement, and he's like, "Daddy, come
Yep.
down and see this." And he had the two equalizers, and he had his hands on one of them and his shins on the other, and he was doing push-ups between the two
Shut up.
equalizers. Uh, I kid you not. The both kids had like this crazy like so, and I
I
was like
wonder
in
where
that
to get it
moment.
from.
Yeah, I know, right? I skipped a generation. I don't know. Whatever. So but the thing is, at that moment when I saw him doing that, I was like, do I run and get my camera or do I tell him to get down before he gets hurt? So I ran and
Mm.
grabbed my camera, right? Like, like, cause yo, it's like I'm
Bad
doing those
answer.
backflips. These are the moments, man. Like if they fall, they learn how to fall and not hurt themselves next time.
Look, that's the best time, because if they don't learn it when they're young and they can stay relaxed, as you get older, you're going to be tense. You're going to get into something. Like, look at this guy, he's just all over the place. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
but when they're young, it's like those are the best times to teach them. If we talk about like tissue durability, like it all starts when you're young. If you don't fall, you don't play. Like kids who are in contact sports or in like even flag football, you fall, you roll over.
yeah.
You want that the body's awareness and the ability to say, hey, I can hit the ground, I can take a hit, and I can bounce back.
Yes, right.
So
When they in driving, like I'm a car guy, as you know, and I'm yet to do a track day, but one of the things I've heard on track days is what they'll teach you is go into the first corner hard, and like
mm-hmm.
spin your car out, right?
Yes.
Like spin your car out. So next time you go into that turn, you know what that breaking point is before
Mm-hmm.
the car's going to spin out. And I think our life is like that too, where sometimes we need to be able to spin out once or twice so we can understand what that threshold is, so we can always be pushing ourselves to that edge.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. No, I think you're right, because look, if you've never been there, you can't be relaxed if you've never been there before, right?
Right.
And I think I always say like elite athletes, they do simple things, but they always teeter on the brink of like catching fire. Like they're playing with fire. It's like right there.
Yes.
Like if you get into like combat sports or shoot any sport for that matter,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
hurdlers are like this high off of hurdles that we see fail videos. Um,
Yes.
you know, boxers are this close to a punch. It's like
Yes.
everything is like, even if you're talking about like a heavy back squat, it's like the beauty of being so close to, hey, you almost didn't get it. Like you missed, but you
Yes.
missed safely. Like, so you almost have to
Right.
learn how to handle fire in order to be
Right.
safe in it. So
Right.
yeah,
Exactly. Absolutely, man. And that goes right into business as well in this season too. Some of
failing
those
gracefully.
conversations, yeah, yeah, failing and or even poise. I think I was talking about with
Uh-huh.
that with someone as well, right? Like I went to a
Mm-hmm.
parenting seminar and they were talking about teaching our kids poise.
I remember that.
You
That's
know, like
true.
dude, it's a game changer when you could teach your child how to lose, walk up, shake someone's hand, look them in the face, say good game, and walk away.
Yes.
That's a life skill, right? Instead of
Yes.
like being afraid to participate for fear of failing or for fear of getting that, whatever it is, like you want to be in that place where you're just on the precipice of, you know, like
Yeah.
plummeting to
No.
your death or being the hero, right? Like there's adventure now. That's still the same
Yeah.
wiring for adventure that's in every man.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
No, like, yeah, no. Look, poise is, I feel like, probably one of the hardest things to teach. So you have to start
Oh,
young.
this
If you don't,
question. Business owners sometimes start businesses and the reason why they start their business is because they can't play well with others. Have you heard that term before? They can't play well with others. So as as Misty was talking about this can't play well with others thing, she put it in a different way because I used to look at that in a way like I'm an easygoing person. As you can see, this Instagram has blown up on me 3 times today, and I'm like, whatever. I just flow with it. But when she was saying that, I was thinking like, well, you don't have the people skills. You're not agreeable with people. You don't like. I'm not saying that those are the things that I think of people that um thing, but like with track 2471 is saying, they like can't share the same vision or direction. Yeah, and what Nolan was saying, a good team player, but love being my own boss. One of the things that she was talking about in terms of can't play well with others is the vision of accessibility in her context was that where she was working, they had a set idea of the people that they wanted to come in the door, and didn't in line that didn't align with what she wanted and what she thought fitness used to be or needs to be. Fitness should be for everyone. It should be accessible to everybody. So that can't play well with others means that there's not an alignment of your vision or direction for what you really want to achieve. So instead of standing there and pushing back and not playing well with others, you go and do your own thing, right? And yes, and it's funny, like as Jacqueline's putting it there, like sometimes two great teachers will have an ego battle. I'm not even talking about the ego battle part of it. The ego battle is one thing, and that's our own personalities that we need to sort out. Another thing is just to simply have divergent visions, vision, and that's fine. That's really okay. So I liked how she articulated that it wasn't like she was butting heads with them. It's just that her vision for accessible fitness and their vision of whatever the vision may have been for where she was working just didn't align. And I think that is something that we need to recognize and question why we are where we are if our visions don't align, and maybe it's time for you to take that leap. Maybe that's your time now during this quarantine time when you have all this time to yourself to craft what your own business would look like, and then surround yourself with people that make that happen so you can actually operate out of your own vision. I've been using Core Conversations as a great networking tool. If you're on Facebook, go onto the group. If you're on the web, just go to personalvictory.ca and just connect with Core Conversations. There's so many people there that are super smart in the industry, the Noams, the Jacquelines, the Misties. Brooke Styler's been on. We've had just some awesome people, some lesser known people that are equally as talented and as savvy in this business world. So use this time to build your business. If you don't play well with others, this is your opportunity to jump out there and do something amazing with your name on it. The other part to that, because I do play well with others, and not that I'm better than anybody, but when I said the way that I look at things, she also brought some insight into that as well. I'm the type of person that would go from working in a big company and just come alongside their vision. I've worked on my own, and then when I went to work at a big box gym, people that know me were shocked that I left my business to work for a big company. That big company was coming into the city, and it was going to be their first big box in the country, and I wanted to be part of it. And that wasn't the first time. This is one example of where I saw someone who had an awesome vision, and I was like, okay, this helps to expand my vision, so I'm going to be part of this. The other part of that is as I realized, want to protect that which is important to me. And that which is important to me is the way that fitness is perceived. Is it accessible? Are other fitness professionals going to get better in this context? Or is it going to be like a dog eat dog world? Is it going to be a cutthroat environment where people are stealing sales from one another and people don't get to grow because there's so many egos in the room? So I felt like I needed to be in there to establish a healthy culture where people can grow and be better and people can be helped. So it was just as selfish as going in, not selfish, selfish is the wrong word, but it's the same mindset as not playing well with others, but it's a strategic way of stepping in and saying, I'm going to come alongside you. I'm going to help you with your vision, but I'm also going to make sure that your vision is still in line with what I think is the vision for this sort of thing. So it's not to undermine those I'm working with, it's to work with them and maybe be that voice that keeps things in line, or maybe be that voice that keeps things going in the way that they envision it too, but they get lost in the weeds of trying to keep the doors open. So I can come alongside and make sure that the other side of the vision gets as much attention as the financial side of the vision. Maybe. I don't know. It was a good conversation though, and it made me think about myself. And because I am the type of person that can go into a situation and work and just tolerate all kinds of foolishness and poor leadership and all these different things because I can see the bigger picture, knowing who I am and where track I'm 27 2471. Strong leadership is needed to sell their vision. Yeah, and we talk about this a lot, and this came up yesterday too, in terms of leadership, is being confident enough in yourself to be able to staff to your weaknesses, to bring people around you that are just as strong as you, have separate niches, so they'll be stronger than you in some areas, and not feel that threat because the person that you brought onto your staff just might be better than you. Flat out. People might like them more than you. I think it's a win when you're a leader and someone walks in the door and asks for someone else. They're not asking for you, they're asking for someone that you have selected, handpicked to be part of your team. And that person is so good that they're just cultivating their own following. That's not a time to stifle that person. That's a time to let them shine, to push them up. Like Andrew says, like make that your launch pad, make your space the launch pad for them and their business. So I've surrounded myself with some people like that, and you all are people like that as well. So I just commend all of you for taking time to reflect on what strong leadership looks like and what vision looks like, and how do we be better business owners doing Pilates, or business owners in fitness, or business owners, doing whatever it is that we do. How many of you guys had a sit and spin? Remember that toy, Hasbro? I didn't have one, but Misty was talking about it yesterday, and it made for a funny analogy. Sit and spin. This guy. See it again, though? Too funny. So that was the analogy that Misty said yesterday, is that we in our businesses are like we're sitting on a sit and spin, where that's what it's like in business sometimes when we get caught up in the mundane, answering phones, trying to run our business, spinning around. And what happens is we go around and around and around on this thing, and we get further distracted from the things that actually give us joy, for things that actually help others, things that help us to push our business forward and to grow our business because we are spinning. So as she said, it's a fun ride and you can get on it and you can spin around as much as you want. But at some point you have to say, stop, let me off so I can continue to move forward with my business instead of going in circles. Jacqueline says, so true. So business owners, what are the things that make you feel like you're on a sit and spin? What parts of your business do you feel like you're just spinning your wheels when you're just going in circles with? For me, I would say it's when I have to do admin work and I have to just think about those kind of things where I'm sitting there working and just feel like I'm going in circles and not moving the business forward. And then other times, quite honestly, is when I'm just training client back to back to back to back, and I'm working in my business, but not working on my business. Those are 2 points where I feel like I'm on that sit and spin and not actually doing anything to move it forward. Yeah, so Jacqueline's saying here, like I used to teach 10 hours a day. Track 2471 saying that is the worst. Yeah, Jacqueline's saying 6 days a week would be 10 hours a day. Yeah. As Harold's saying, like, what's the mission and where does it move you forward to? Those are the questions that we need to keep at the forefront of our mind. What is our mission and what are we moving towards? If we don't keep that at the forefront of our mind, then we get frustrated because we're just spinning around and around and around. Jacqueline's saying, and as she was working 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, and never allowed herself to actually work on her business. That's exactly what happens. As Jacqueline is saying here now 5 students maximum and 4 hours on my business. And that's key. And as she's saying there, sometimes we feel like we're not being as productive if we're not in the trenches 10 hours a day. But those 4 hours that she takes to work on her business are going to get her further ahead than if she's doing 60 hours of clients a week. And the other thing to this, which Michael brought up on Tuesday, which I thought was brilliant, was when we have an idea of our overall mission, our global mission, when we hit certain checkpoints, we can recognize that those are checkpoints, that those aren't the destination, and that it doesn't mean that we've arrived if we reach that one, financial goal, or if in the sport you break a record in your time, or you get a belt as a boxer. Those are all checkpoints in the overall mission. And the flip side of that is that if you get sidetracked from that overall mission, because you have that mission in mind still, it doesn't become an anxiety building moment when you're off track. You just know that you need to step back onto the track and keep moving forward. And so sidetracks don't make us panic as much because we know that we can still move forward. It's like a chart, right? If we have a chart that goes like this in terms of our investments, it might go up and down and up and down. But as long as it's still trending upwards, the downs don't mean that we're in peril and the ups don't mean that we're millionaires. Everything starts to just trend up, and that becomes a line that we work through as we're moving forward. Right. So as Jacqueline was saying, yeah, maybe a bit of a loss in terms of the finances, but you're getting better and moving ahead. And that's exactly it. Like in the long term, you will have longevity to your job because you won't burn out, and you'll have a better financial base that grows steadily. Track 2471. I'm a coach and I have to coach coaches to coach. Yes, that is what I call scalability. We'll talk about that in a minute. Jacqueline, every teacher, coach, athlete needs a mentor to help with the vision. That is true too. Even if it's just for accountability, someone that you could just bounce your stuff off and they can say like, I don't know if that's going to work for you. So you can go back to the drawing board yourself. It's good to have someone that can speak into your life and challenge you. Harold saying, how do you define that vision? Yes, I think defining that vision comes from having people around you to help craft that. So I don't know what the straight answer is, but having people to help develop that process definitely is key. Jacqueline's comment, every millionaire and famous person all have a mentor. Absolutely. I don't think that it's possible to do this on your own. Have like a 5 to 10 year plan of training. Yes, I'm a mentor and I have many mentors 24/71, and we're fine. I had this interesting story of one time when I was working in a nonprofit and I had to apply to get funding, not funding, but donations for this event. And when we were trying to get donations for this event, the gentleman that I called had this business, and he was so cocky and he's so rude in his response when I asked if he could give a donation to help out these kids by giving a prize that we can give back into this charity. And his response was basically, I made this on my own. I believe, like Darwin, survival of the fittest. If they can't figure it all out on their own, I'm not going to help them. I did it myself. They could do it themselves. Click. And I'll never forget that, because I think even that person was delusional as to how much help he got from other people to get to where he is. I really hardly believe that he got there all on his own without even a bank giving him $1, without some support or someone giving him ideas or someone giving a referral to make his first business strategy work. You know what I mean? Like, even to get a hookup to get that recognition, like there's someone that helped you somewhere along the line. And more so than him saying, I did it myself, I know that straight up is a lie. So it's interesting how someone can think that they made it on their own. And we are completely delusional as fitness professionals, as business owners, and we think that we could do it our own. So, yes, wow, rude. Yes, that's it's so funny how people think that way. Jacqueline, thanks for tuning in. She's got to run a Zoom class. Please, everyone who's on here right now, Lineage Pilates. Jacqueline is a classical Pilates instructor in Poland. She brought Pilates to Poland, classical Pilates to Poland. That's how legit she is. So passionate. She knows her stuff. Ask her any questions when it comes to Pilates or even business, and she's so helpful. She'll definitely be there for you. Follow her. Anyway, so that being said, as mentors, who are you surrounding yourself with? Who do you have in your corner that you can formally ask questions and get answers, or informally, like a peer mentor, someone that you will just give you some suggestions that you can take criticism from, constructive criticism from, and get better? Choose those people wisely and let them speak into your life, and be that for people. Reach out to people. Even here on Instagram, I've had people reach out to me and ask me if they could help me with something. And I'm so glad and so eager to learn from them. So it's a yes. Get over your own fear of their rejection. Get over your own fear of thinking that you have nothing to contribute, and contribute. Help other people get better. It does wonders for your own self. And also be receptive when people reach out to you. Harold, you're a street speed coach, strength conditioning coach. If some guy who has no credentials comes up and has some suggestions for you, I know you'll receive that. Like, we have to be open to those out there that have something to give. I think it might have been Noam when we were talking about it. We're saying that some of the best instructors probably aren't even in the industry yet. Some of the best Pilates coaches might be 1 or 2 weeks in, but they have such an eye and they have such great verbal cues. They have amazing touch that is never been seen by those who have been in the industry for 20 years. So learn from those people. The only thing they don't have is clocked hours in this area of expertise, but that doesn't take away from their ability to connect with people. 24/71. Learning never stops. If anyone thinks they know it all, they've lost their ability to move forward. Agreed. Agreed. We always need to be moving forward. I esteem a quest for learning higher than the credentials behind someone's name. I like seeing some kind of degree, and my history, as you guys may or may not know, is I have a degree in social work. I have a master's degree in counseling. I did a course in personal training, and I've continued to pursue that. I've done an apprenticeship in Pilates. And one of those things that was said to me a long time ago. Someone looked at my resume, saw social work, even though I was applying for a fitness job, and they said, the fact that you have an undergraduate degree shows that you have an aptitude for learning. I could have had a history degree and I would have got the job because that person recognized that there's an aptitude for learning if you've been to school. So I took that and I was like, okay, you know what? That makes sense to me. I respect an aptitude for learning more than credentials in a respective field.